You're standing in front of a door. On the other side, you can hear the muffled sounds of laughter, of conversation, of life. You can feel the warmth seeping from under the frame. Everything you've ever wanted, connection, belonging, love, is on the other side of that door. Your hand reaches for the knob, your fingers brush against the cool metal, and then you pull back. You take a step away. Maybe you tell yourself you don't need what's in that room. Maybe you tell yourself the people in there wouldn't want you anyway. Or maybe you just stand there, paralyzed, one hand outstretched, the other clenched into a fist at your side, caught in an invisible, agonizing tug-of-war. If this feeling is familiar, if you've ever felt like you're surrounded by invisible walls, or that you're living life behind a pane of glass, watching everyone else connect while you remain on the outside looking in, then this is for you. You've likely asked yourself 1,000 times, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just let people in? You've been told to be more open, to be vulnerable, to just put yourself out there. You've tried. Oh, how you've tried. But every time you get close, something inside you screams, danger. An alarm bell rings, and you retreat to the safety of your own solitude, even if that solitude is achingly lonely. Today, we're going to talk about the real reason you can't let people in. And here's the most important thing you need to hear right at the start. It's not your fault. Let me say that again so you can let it sink past the layers of self-criticism and shame you've built up over the years. The reason you struggle to let people in is not because you are broken or defective or unloving. It's not a character flaw. It is a brilliant, deeply intelligent, and once necessary survival strategy. Your system isn't broken. It's working perfectly based on the data it was given a very, very long time ago. To understand this, we need to travel back in time. Not just to your last failed relationship or your last awkward social gathering, but all the way back to the very beginning. We need to talk about the fundamental biological imperative that governs all human beings, the need for attachment. From the moment we are born, we are utterly dependent. A human infant cannot feed itself, keep itself warm, or protect itself from predators. Its survival depends entirely on its ability to form a secure bond with a primary caregiver. This isn't just a sentimental idea, it's a biological reality. Our nervous systems are hardwired for connection. The cry of a baby isn't just a noise. It's a powerful activation of its attachment system, a signal sent out into the world. I am here. I am vulnerable. I need you to survive. In a perfect world, that cry is met with a consistent, reliable, and attuned response. The caregiver comes. They provide food, warmth, and comfort. They look into the baby's eyes and, through their calm presence, they co-regulate the baby's distress. Through thousands of these tiny interactions, the infant's developing brain learns a foundational lesson, a core belief that will become the blueprint for all of its future relationships. That lesson is, my needs are valid. The world is a safe place. I am worthy of love and care. When I reach out for help, someone will be there. This is the foundation of what psychologists call secure attachment. Someone with a secure attachment blueprint moves through the world with an underlying sense of safety. They can be vulnerable because they believe, deep in their bones, that connection is a source of comfort, not a source of danger. They can let people in. But for many of us, the world was not that perfect. Our caregivers, for a multitude of reasons, their own unresolved trauma, stress, illness, or societal pressures, were not able to provide that consistent, attuned care. They were not bad people. They were often just people who were struggling themselves, people who were never given a secure blueprint of their own. And this is where the walls begin to be built. Brick by painful brick. Let's imagine a different scenario. A baby cries, but the response is inconsistent. Sometimes the caregiver comes, but they're stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed. Their attempt to soothe the baby is frantic, and the baby picks up on that anxiety. Other times, the caregiver is distracted and doesn't come right away. The baby learns a different lesson. I have to cry louder. I have to work harder. I have to cling to get my needs met. I am not sure if they will be there for me, so I must always be vigilant, always be watching for signs of abandonment. This creates an anxious attachment style. The wall for the anxiously attached person isn't a solid fortress. It's more like a desperate, frantic attempt to merge with someone else. They don't want to be alone, but they can't trust that the other person will stay. So they push for closeness, they seek constant reassurance, they monitor their partner's every mood. They try to let people in, but they do it with such a desperate intensity that it often pushes the other person away, confirming their deepest fear, that they are too much and that they will inevitably be abandoned. Their inability to let people in isn't about keeping them out. It's about an inability to trust that once someone is in, they won't leave. The door is wide open, but it's a revolving door, powered by the winds of their own anxiety. Now, let's imagine a third scenario. A baby cries, and the caregiver is consistently dismissive or rejecting of their emotional needs. The message, spoken or unspoken, is "You're fine. Stop crying. Your needs are an inconvenience." The baby, in its infinite wisdom for survival, learns a devastating but necessary lesson. My needs will not be met. Reaching out for comfort only leads to rejection and pain. To survive, I must stop needing. I must rely only on myself. This is the birth of the avoidant attachment style. This is the classic wall, the impenetrable fortress, the person who proudly proclaims, "I'm independent. I don't need anyone." On the surface, they seem strong, self-sufficient, and unflappable. But underneath that armor is a deeply buried, tender longing for a connection they've taught themselves they can't have. They can't let people in because, to them, intimacy is synonymous with suffocation. To be vulnerable is to risk the crushing rejection they experienced as a child. So they keep people at arm's length. They rationalize it. They find flaws in potential partners. They prioritize work, hobbies, anything that keeps them from the terrifying prospect of true emotional intimacy. When a relationship gets too close, when someone starts to scale their walls, they either retreat, shut down, or sabotage the connection to restore their sense of safety. Their greatest fear isn't being alone. It's being in a relationship where they might actually need someone, only to be let down again. The door to their inner world is not just closed. It's bolted, barricaded, and they've thrown away the key. And there is a fourth, more complex scenario. What if the caregiver was a source of both comfort and fear? What if the same person who fed you was also the person who raged at you? The same arms that held you were also the arms that might have hurt you? The baby's developing nervous system is thrown into an impossible paradox. The person they are biologically driven to seek for safety is also the source of their terror. The drive to go toward for comfort and the drive to run away for safety are activated at the same time. This creates a disorganized attachment style, also known as fearful avoidant. The wall for the fearful avoidant person is a chaotic mess. It's a wall that crumbles and rebuilds itself from moment to moment. They desperately crave intimacy, often more intensely than anyone. They see the beauty and potential of connection. But the moment someone gets close, the terror kicks in. It's an internal experience of, "Come here." "No, get away." They can be a whirlwind of contradictions, chasing someone one day and pushing them away the next. They can't let people in because the very act of getting close triggers a primal fear of danger. For them, love and fear are inextricably linked. Letting someone in feels like handing them a weapon, and they're terrified it will be used against them because in their past it was. Do any of these feel familiar? Perhaps you see a bit of yourself in more than one. These styles aren't rigid boxes, but rather fluid strategies. The key takeaway is this: your inability to let people in is a direct, logical outcome of your early relational experiences. It was an adaptation. The anxiously attached person learned to amplify their needs to be seen. The avoidant person learned to suppress their needs to avoid rejection. The fearful avoidant person learned to oscillate between the two to survive an unpredictable environment. These were not conscious choices. These were strategies encoded into your nervous system before you could even speak. They were about survival. And they worked. They got you through your childhood. The problem is that this old software is still running in your adult life, and it's wreaking havoc on your desire for connection. As an adult, this old programming manifests in what feels like self-sabotage. You meet someone wonderful. They are kind, consistent, and available. Everything you said you wanted. And what happens? If you lean anxious, you might start to feel a low-level hum of anxiety. You check their social media. You analyze their text messages. You create stories in your head about how they're losing interest. You need constant proof that they're not going to leave, and this need for proof slowly erodes the trust and ease of the connection. If you lean avoidant, you might start to feel suffocated. You start noticing all their little flaws, the way they chew their food, their taste in music. You suddenly feel an overwhelming need for space. You become busy with work. You stop responding to texts as quickly. You create distance, not because you don't like them, but because their closeness has triggered your deeply ingrained fear of being enmeshed and losing yourself. If you lean fearful avoidant, you might do both. You might feel an intense, consuming passion for them one day, believing they are your soulmate. The next day, after a small misunderstanding, you might be consumed by terror and suspicion, convinced they will betray you, and you might lash out or disappear completely to protect yourself. In every case, the outcome is the same. The prophecy is fulfilled. The anxiously attached person's behavior eventually pushes their partner away, confirming their belief that they will always be abandoned. The avoidant person successfully creates distance, confirming their belief that they are better off alone. The fearful avoidant person experiences a chaotic and painful end to the relationship, confirming their belief that intimacy is inherently dangerous. Your brain, in its attempt to keep you safe, has successfully recreated the emotional environment of your childhood. It doesn't do this because it's malicious. It does this because it's familiar. Your nervous system prefers the certainty of a familiar pain over the uncertainty of an unfamiliar pleasure. The fortress you built as a child felt safe then. It was a shelter from the storm. But now you're an adult. The storm has passed, but you're still living in the shelter, wondering why you feel so isolated. So, if this is the reason, if this is a deeply ingrained subconscious survival strategy, what on earth can we do about it? Are we doomed to repeat these patterns forever? Absolutely not. The beauty of the human brain is its neuroplasticity. The patterns that were learned can be unlearned. The blueprint can be redrawn. Healing is not only possible, it is your birthright. But it is not a quick fix. It is a journey of turning inward, of courage, and of profound self-compassion. The first step, the one you are taking right now by listening to this, is awareness. You cannot heal what you do not acknowledge. For years, you have likely been blaming yourself. I'm too needy. I'm too cold. I'm too difficult. Now, you can begin to change the narrative. Instead of, what is wrong with me? You can start to ask, what happened to me? This shift from self-blame to self-understanding is the foundation of all healing. It's about looking at your walls not as a sign of your failure, but as a monument to your survival. Thank them for protecting you when you were small and vulnerable. Acknowledge the incredible job they did. The second step is to grieve. This is a step that most people want to skip. We want to jump straight to the solution, but you must grieve for the child who didn't get their needs met. Grieve for the sense of safety you never had. Grieve for the love and attunement you deserved but didn't receive. This grief is not about blaming your parents. It's about acknowledging the reality of your own experience and the profound impact it had on you. It's about honoring the pain of that little person inside of you who is still waiting for someone to come. When you allow yourself to feel this grief, something remarkable happens. You stop subconsciously looking for a partner to fix your childhood wounds. You stop putting the impossible expectation on another person to be the perfect parent you never had. The third and most transformative step is to become your own secure base. The work of healing is the process of learning to give yourself what you never received from your caregivers. This is the work of reparenting yourself. What does this look like in practice? It means learning to self-soothe. When you feel that spike of anxiety, that urge to run, or that wave of panic, instead of immediately acting on it, you pause. You take a breath. You put a hand on your heart and you speak to yourself like a kind and loving parent. You say, I know you're scared. It's okay to feel this way. I'm right here with you. I'm not going to abandon you. You learn to sit with uncomfortable feelings without needing someone else to fix them for you. It means validating your own emotions. For your entire life, your feelings might have been dismissed or ignored. Now, you become the one who validates them. If you feel sad, you allow the sadness. If you feel angry, you acknowledge the anger. You stop judging your feelings as right or wrong and start seeing them as vital information. IT means identifying your needs and learning to meet them yourself. If you have an anxious style, you might have a deep need for reassurance. Instead of demanding it from a partner, can you offer it to yourself first? Can you write down all the evidence that you are safe and loved? If you have an avoidant style, you might have a deep need for autonomy and space. Can you learn to ask for it kindly and clearly, rather than creating it by pushing people away? Can you also acknowledge the tender, buried need for connection that lies underneath? This is slow, patient work. It's building a new internal relationship, a relationship with yourself that is based on trust, kindness, and attunement. You are essentially wiring a new, secure attachment style from the inside out. The fourth step is to take small, calculated risks in your relationships with others. Healing doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in connection. But this time, you do it consciously. You need what are called corrective emotional experiences. These are experiences that challenge your old blueprint. That if you lean avoidant, a corrective experience might be sharing something vulnerable with a trusted friend and seeing them respond with compassion instead of rejection. It might be letting someone help you when your instinct is to say, "I've got it." It's the terrifying act of leaning in just 5% more than you're comfortable with. If you lean anxious, a corrective experience might be feeling a wave of anxiety about a relationship and choosing to go for a walk or call a friend instead of immediately sending a barrage of texts to your partner. It's the courageous act of trusting that the connection is still there even when you don't have constant proof. It's learning to tolerate the space between connection. If you lean fearful avoidant, the work is often best done with the help of a skilled therapist who can provide a safe, stable container for you to explore your intense and conflicting feelings. The corrective experience is learning that a person can be safe and consistent, that disagreement doesn't have to mean danger, and that you can be both close to someone and still be yourself. Throughout this process, it's crucial to choose people who are worthy of your vulnerability. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Look for people who are consistent, empathetic, and respectful of your boundaries. These people will be your anchors, helping you stay steady as you navigate the new and often scary territory of secure connection. This journey is not about tearing down your walls completely. Your walls contain wisdom. They remind you of what you've overcome. The goal is not to obliterate the fortress and leave yourself exposed to the elements. The goal is to transform the fortress into a home with windows that can open to let in the fresh air, and a door. And this time, you are the gatekeeper. You hold the key. You get to decide who you let in and when. You can open the door with discernment, not with the panicked reactivity of the past. The reason you couldn't let people in was because, for you, intimacy was wired to danger. It was a threat to your survival. Your younger self built those walls to protect a very precious, vulnerable core. Now, as an adult, you can take over the job of protection. You can reassure that younger part of you that you are safe now, that you are strong enough to handle life, and that you are capable of choosing people who will cherish your vulnerability, not exploit it. The longing you feel for connection is not a weakness. It is the healthiest, most human part of you. It is the echo of that primal, biological need for attachment. It has never gone away, no matter how deeply you've buried it. Healing your attachment wounds is the process of finally clearing the path for that healthy longing to be fulfilled. It's a journey from reacting to responding, from self-blame to self-compassion, from seeing vulnerability as a liability to understanding it as the birthplace of connection, joy, and love. So the next time you find yourself standing in front of that door, feeling the pull to retreat, be kind to yourself. Acknowledge the fear. Thank the part of you that is trying to keep you safe. Take a deep breath. And then maybe, just maybe, you can allow yourself to turn the knob. Not flinging it wide open, but just cracking it open an inch. Just enough to let a little bit of light in and a little bit of your own light out. Because on the other side of that door is everything you've ever yearned for. And you, more than anyone, are worthy of walking through it.